Oh, gosh. Here I thought maybe I was actually done coming back to this place. Oh, I have quite a history with Tempest Keep. I came back here so many times. Week after week after week. On the characters I had at the time, which, keep in mind, I have more characters now than I did then. So I would have been bringing even more characters to this place to farm the Ashes of Alar. Eventually, I finally got the mount to drop, and I thought, oh, thank goodness I'd never have to come back here again. And technically, we're actually not going back there. We're actually going to be going through the dungeons in this area, not the raid itself. I've already done my video on the raid, and gosh, if I never have to step back in the raid again. Oh, man. Let's just say, coming back here, I'm just almost having a little bit of PTSD, like, oh gosh, I'm back here again. Anyone who has farmed the mount probably understands what I'm talking about. By the way, you'll also notice that some time has passed, because now my warrior here is now level 70. Even looks a little different. He also now has a clan banner. I had him do the Orc Heritage armor and had him join the Blackrock clan officially. It's one of my favorite things about the Heritage armor questline for the Orcs, that you actually choose which clan that you can join. You could literally have, like, I think up to 6 Orc characters join a different clan. It's pretty cool. But we're actually going to be doing the 3 different dungeons that are here in the Nether Storm Zone, which is part of the Tempest Keep area, which, yeah, like, there's a lot to talking about when it comes to the story of this area, about how this, like, you know, an old Naru shipment technology that Kael'thas and the Blood Elves are trying to use and harvest mana and such, as well as their technology. And of course, we see this in the raid, especially during the entire encounter. But there's also a few different things going on in the dungeons as well that Kael'thas is having others do for him, and other things are having going on. And I believe this is the correct one. Yeah. So first we're going to be doing the Mechanar. Now, I was actually hoping that... so there are some quests that actually will automatically pop up when you do these dungeons, and I'm hoping that works for this character, because it's been happening on other alts when I was doing Time Walking Burning Crusade. In fact, this week it's actually Time Walking Burning Crusade right now during this Turbulent Timeways event. And I've avoided having my warrior here doing them to not have the quest trigger, because I want to be able to actually show you guys the quest. Otherwise, I have to switch to a different character that has not done these in Time Walking. Because unlike where other dungeons where you could literally pick up the quest from the NPC right here, like, hey, I have a quest for you, it'll literally just happen here. The mighty Tempest Keep was created by the enigmatic Naru, sentient beings of pure energy, and the sworn enemies of the Burning Legion. In addition to serving as a base of operations for the Naru, the structure itself possesses the technology to teleport through alternate dimensions, traveling from one location to another in the blink of an eye. So, you'll of course notice there's quite a few Blood Elves are here working on behalf of Kael'thas, trying to do a lot of harvesting of, like I said, not just the Naru technology that's here, but also a lot of the mana stuff here. You'll end up seeing, especially towards the end when we get to the final boss of this dungeon, a lot of what I believe are like mana cubes that they are trying to make and use for their energy, because of course part of the thing that's going on with the Blood Elves here, and part of the speech that we get when we do the raid, is that they're addicted to magic, mana, and power. In fact, here they are right here. You'll see the arcane mana cubes right here is what they're basically trying to work on and create in order to be able to harvest them and utilize them for themselves. Think of... how do I put this? Think of how in Transformers they tried to take and harness raw Energon and turn them into Energon cubes to make them more stable, so that way they can also be able to utilize them as a power source. Because they can't really do that when Energon is in its raw form. they have to actually, turn them into something like this so they can actually turn into an actual power source they can actually use. So, there are only 3 listed bosses in here, but there are actually a couple of optional bosses as well. So unfortunately I can't really read the lore for the optional guys that are in here. Because you'll notice one of them is right here. Gatewatcher Iron Hand, and then there's another one right over here. Actually, no, that one actually is in the journal, but this one is optional.
You have approximately 5 seconds to live.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
My calculations did not.
So I actually found some funny mods that actually add some extra, like, victory or defeat sound effects from, like, other games, like Nintendo games. It's rather funny, but I'm not going to be using them in any of my videos because I do not want to risk any of that Nintendo music to draw any kind of copyright. Because Nintendo is kind of relentless when it comes to copyright. That's why you'll never see Nintendo stuff on my channel. Now this guy I actually can read for you. Mechanar Lord Capacitus. It takes a tremendous amount of skill and precision to harvest the power of the Naru's mana cells. These talents can easily be turned upon any intruders. Now, I believe this is a gnome. Whether or not this is a regular gnome or a leper gnome, we're not entirely sure. But let's just say Kael'thas was like, I need to hire someone that can be able to actually help deal with collecting all these mana cells that we're going to need. Maybe the gnomes would help. So, of course, this is a big mech fight. He has Polarity Shift, charges all energy with players with energy, shifting their polarity to either. So it's kind of positive negative. So it's kind of like the Thaddeus fight in Nox Ramus in that regard. He will summon other charges, which detonate after 15 seconds, inflicting a lot of damage to all players within 15 yards. You can see them going off right there. And he has Head Crack, which reduces a player's stamina by a lot for 15 seconds. So it's an anti-tank ability, basically. Trying to reduce the tank's health. Now you'll notice we actually did get a couple of quests here that were not actually, so I did pick them up. Sorry about that, guys. I sense that one of my kind's artifacts has been taken and stashed away in the cache of the Legion. We cannot give them time to discover its power. If you would kill the Gate Watchers and retrieve it for me, I would be most grateful. You have done well, but more work remains to be done. Sorry about that. One more task. A gentle wind caresses your face. Not sure how I feel about a doll being able to caress my face without me seeing. Pathalion, the Calculator, oversees many of his master's operations. He is personally responsible for much of the recent torment that has plagued this world. I ask that you eliminate him. Sure thing, Naru. Yeah, let's just say, like, oh, the Naru are so nice and sweet, and then, like, kill. But then again, we find out quite a bit more about the Naru and Legion, don't we? To the point where it's like, oh, okay, so the Naru are not as nice and sweet as we thought they were. But you'll see there's all these tinkerers that are here working on these things, on these cells. Trying to harvest them and, yeah. Here we are.
It's locked.
It's locked. also locked. So we'll have to go find these gate watchers and probably get the key from them to unlock that.
I don't have a target.
And that is Gate Watcher Gyro Kill.
I predict a painful death.
Indeed.
Unforeseen contingency.
I did not foresee you killing me.
But yeah, you'll notice I've actually been doing some extra stuff here in my warrior. I even got my warrior to 70, and then got to do Time Walking Firelands to get a kill on Ragnaros, which got me this. A 428 Red Widow Shield, in case I play Prot. But my intent is to mainly have this warrior stick to Fury, because in my opinion, if you're going to have your warrior be an orc, you're probably going for more damage output since you have Blood Fury. Now, I actually have a separate warrior who is a Tauren, because, as I've said before, if you're going to, make a Tauren, especially on a class that can play a tank spec, you're usually going to be able to be pretty well off. By the way, now that the gatekeepers are dead, we can actually unlock this. You've obtained it, I assume? By the way, that little sound effect you hear is another add-on I found, which is supposed to be a little sound effect customizer I can do for chat. Because, believe it or not, I often can miss chat just because I'm focused on looking at something else. I honestly respond better to certain audio cues, so anytime something pops up in chat that someone says, I hear a little sound like that, and I am able to look down at the chat window. I apologize if it gets a little annoying for you guys, but it's honestly something that's helpful for me to be able to pay attention to actually catching what somebody says. You have done well. Any advantage we can take away from Kael'thas's forces is to our benefit. So now, because the Gate Watchers are dead, we can go ahead and use this elevator to move on.
I'm out of range.
This is Nethermancer Sepethria. Thanks to her skills at quickly summoning creatures to destroy any enemies, Sepethria was chosen as an apprentice to Pathalion the Calculator, the Blood Elf in charge of the Mechanar. So, she has Raging Flames. She will summon 2 Raging Flames when she enters combat. They ignore threat and they will pursue a player for a short time. She has Arcane Blast, Frost Attack, and Dragon's Breath. So she's basically a mage.
Don't value your life very much, do you?
It's too far away.
I like how they get summoned like, hey! Someone's coming through here, stop them! They just kind of spawn when they feel us making our way through here. So this next guy, if you do some of the questing and such when it comes to the Blood Elves, you'll probably recognize him. Following the Sunwell's defilement, the vainglorious Arcanist Pathalion saw an opportunity to gain renown by aiding Kael'thas in finding a cure for his race's addiction to magic. The single-minded quest led him to join the Blood Elf Prince on Outland and oversee his disastrous experiments. Most recently...
timetable! You will not interfere!
Apparently he just aggroes to me the moment I show up, even though I didn't actually hit him. Has begun harnessing the Tempest Keep's otherworldly technologies in pursuit of fame and power. So, he will summon Nether Wraiths. He has Arcane Explosion.
Time to supplement my workforce.
Arcane Torrent. Mana Tap. He increases his attack speed for 5 minutes. And his physical damage done. And he'll actually take control of a player. So yeah, I imagine this guy was a pain. He also did some pretty horrible stuff as well, so let's just say he's someone who kind of deserves to die. So we did a lot of people a favor. Hey, I got the Sun Eater sword. Fantastic. You have my gratitude. So yeah, let's just say not only do we hinder the efforts that go on here, but we did a number of other people a favor by killing that guy. So the next dungeon we're going to be doing is one that I've actually been able to go through quite often because it's part of Time Walking Burning Crusade nowadays. So, when we come back, we will be heading to the Botanica. Stay tuned.